It is early Sunday morning, and my name is Aldo Gandia. That gentleman there is Mike North, and this is Mike North's Early Bears Special. Mike, how are you, my friend?
Beating them to the punch again, 2-0 last week, Aldo. I don't know what to tell you. I'm thrilled that we started off 2-0. The applause. Honest with you, I had a mixed bag last week. I had a bad odds couple show. I did in the Vegas contest 2-3, in the media contest with Carmen DeFalco. Here I go 4-1 with the Bears 2-0. So you know what? The NFL, there's a Survivor contest, and the contest at Circus Sports that I'm in. There's already half of the Survivor contest, more than half is out. You have to pick one team a week.
Yeah,
with the spread. So long, everybody. I mean, so it's been a crazy NFL year so far for the gamblers. It's been enjoyable for me. As far as I did not like having to go to Amazon Prime and watch it on my iPad where it froze up on me 4 times because Xfinity was in the area. So somebody tells me Xfinity's in the area. I go, was that a stripper? Was she walking around? No, they go that. I didn't know what they're talking about. They said they're working on the computers. So I go, oh, the computer thing, the cable company or whatever. He goes, yeah. So then I had to do a show with the iPad where your face is like, you look like you're on the Titanic right before it sinks, And but then I'm watching Amazon Prime and it froze on me 3 times.
Oh,
I don't know if it did on anybody else, but on the iPad, because I had no computer, it's not the best, but it was okay. But that's where America's going. That game, along with the Aaron Judge games that were on Apple, should have been on free TV.
Oh, my God.
You got to be out of your mind.
Yes.
You got to be out of your mind. But I had to get Amazon Prime because my guy Mitch was playing. And you know what? They had a crap game, Pittsburgh, but they played a very good team in Cleveland. They got 10 days to get ready for the Jets. Now, if they lose to the Jets, then it's Katie bar the door, and then you do some reinvestigation. But I will say this. You can't give up 400 yards of defense. And I'll say this for the Bears today, too. No matter what Justin Fields does, you can't give up 400 yards of defense. You can't give up 175 yards of rushing offense. And you cannot fail to hold on third down situations if you're the Pittsburgh defense. 9 times they converted first downs. And and the Bear fans were not really boisterous. They didn't get on Mitch. You know why? Because they realized that Justin Fields is averaging 4.9 yards a pass. Okay?
Right.
And they realized that Pittsburgh's got a tougher schedule. And they realized that both guys are really in their third game. So they're understanding. They've been down this road before of blaming Mitch. But I'm here to tell you, if Justin Fields goes 20 or 32 today, like Mitch did, throws for 207 yards, no interceptions and a touchdown, and puts up, listen to this, folks, and Aldo goes, I don't know how you come up with this. You know what I mean? He just said that to me 2 minutes ago. I said something stupid. He said, I don't know how you come up with this. Mitch Trubisky, second half, his fault, failure on third down plays, 1 and out, 2-3 times.
Right.
But their failure to hold the other team on third down stopped them. Mitch Trubisky in 23 minutes put up 17 points. If Justin Fields does that and the Bears lose, I will not blame Justin Fields. We can't give up 400 yards today on defense, especially to this football team, the Houston Texans. I got to believe the Bear brass would love to see this because they're famous for getting rid of Lovey when they were 10-6, when he was 10-6. So we've been down this road before, and we'll see what happens today. But I wanted to give my opinion of the Steeler game. Mitch could have played better, but he was not the problem. Even Tomlin said that. And if Justin Fields does the same thing as Mitch, I won't blame Justin today. You got to get some turnovers. Neither quarterback had a turnover in that game. And for the Bears, I think they need a turnover or 2 today. They get that. Houston doesn't have the team to catch up.
Yeah, that's for sure. Chris Mills, their quarterback, young guy. He's still finding his footing, a third-round draft pick, I believe. Oh, by the way, it's Chris Watts' birthday. Shout out to Chris Watts, our guy from Leeds across the pond. Chris.
Happy birthday, Chris. You're still blocked until we figure out the situation with the direct messages. Although I did see 7, I didn't, but then all of a sudden they disappeared. So I think I'm out of his feeder system now. Okay? That's all. My guy Terrell, what's up, guys? What's going on, man?
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, Mitch Trubisky got out of some ticklish situations with that line, and that's what Justin's going to have to do today. I was hoping for a little bit of different weather, but it looks okay right now. Doesn't matter to me. Here's another problem with the Bears, folks, because you won't hear this from the mainstream media here in this town. Justin Fields holding on to the ball right now, just like he did at Ohio State, is one of the leaders in the clubhouse at 3.5 seconds every time he goes back to pass. You've got to get rid of it by 3. Guys are wide open, just like I've been hearing about some other quarterbacks in the league that they're missing. Maybe it's because of preseason, maybe because you didn't have you didn't have a lot of competition in all these camps. But you cannot hold the ball for 3.5 to 4 seconds, folks. And remember, that's the average of his. So maybe sometimes he's got it 4 or 5 seconds and he's running around. And another time, maybe you'll throw it out with 1.5 seconds. But 3.5 seconds, entirely too long to win in the National Football League.
John says if the Chicago Bears don't beat Houston, the Bears, as Mike Ditka would say, may not win another game in 2022. This is one of the easy games on the schedule. They could get out to a 2-1 start. They should on paper, but they're definitely going to need to improve their tackling on defense, and they're also going to sustain some drives, because a big part of that loss to the Green Bay Packers was after the score was 10-7. The Packers scored on their first 2 possessions. The second possession for the Bears, they were 3 and out. The third possession for the Bears, they were 3 and out. The fourth possession for the Bears, they were 3 and out. And you can't win football games if you're constantly sending your defense out there to try to save your ass. So they need to sustain drives on offense.
I'm with you, and this is the reason Aldo and I have lasted a long time and become better friends, because not only is he a great pro, and by the way, I got something special. We got something special coming out in about a month, celebrating a few things, and Aldo Gandia is one of the best at what he does. Not only here, but with this thing that he did for me, and I was very touched, and it's made me actually like him more, and that's a troubling thing. Because his wife said some complimentary things down. I'm asking about the family now.
That's right.
You know, how's the new grandkid? You know, all of a sudden I'm a caring man. But basically you're right, Aldo. The thing that makes it realistic is if you'll criticize. If it's Fields, you'll criticize. If it's Montgomery, you will criticize. If it's Trubisky, you'll be across the board. I'm the same way. I don't care. I don't care if Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, Jameis Winston, Matt Ryan. I don't care if they throw 10 touchdown passes a game as long as we win. If the Steelers would have won 3-0, that's fine. Because I always go, as Aldo knows, according to wins and losses. So, you know what? To want to yank anybody, here's what I hear. Maybe Fields will be yanked down the line if things don't work out. Trubisky after 3 games. It's comical. Brady's lost his receivers, and they're saying, boy, they got new receivers. It's going to take Brady more than 3 games to get used to. Yet Mitch Trubisky can be with the Steelers for three weeks, and Justin Fields can be under a new offense for 3 weeks, and they better get it done right away. You got the greatest quarterback of all time that needs more time. You know, so this is how things work with the press. Okay, the bottom line is that if Justin Fields today throws only 9-10 passes again, then there's a problem, because you got a Lovie Smith defense that we all know is bend, don't break. There's only one problem with this defense. There's no Mike Brown. There's no Lance Briggs. There's no Urlacher. Yeah, I threw your name in there, Brian. Yeah. There's no studs.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. But I will say this to Aldo, and this is why I set this up, because I sometimes set things up where Aldo's almost got to agree with me on this, unless he comes up. If Matt Nagy and Trubisky only threw 24 times in the first 2 games and ran 64 times, they'd be out of town already. And yet we're seeing this new regime, okay, do just that. And they didn't even want Fields, I don't think. They're afraid to let him unleash. And he had that problem like holding the ball at Ohio State. But this is like fraudulent almost, not to give this kid an opportunity. But here's the problem. It dates back to Nagy. Aldo's going, man, I'm going to let this guy roll. I mean, he's breaking it down.
Got to.
Allen Robinson was chastised last year. Part of the plan. Him and the other guy, I'm just going to call him the other guy. I don't want to mention his name all the time. The quarterback, MT, connected for 200 passes in 2 years. And they, for some reason, thought Darnell Mooney was better than Allen Robinson. That was the judgment from this Bear team, or they didn't want to pay him, which could be both. They basically smeared him, for about 3, 4, during camp, and Mooney's the new guy. That's how the media works here. Darnell Mooney, without a number 1 receiver right now, looks like as bad a mistake as Mancada was getting a big contract at third base for the White Sox. And this is early, I know. He could come up with 8 catches today. But there was a reason. And Justin Fields would have never had him as a receiver at Ohio State. He wasn't good enough.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Part of this.
You agree with the 24th? You can't throw 24, 25, 28 times in 2 games and win.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the NFL. It's a passing league nowadays.
Unless they think that's the only way they got a shot at winning. But they're not getting turnovers.
Luke Getzey was asked about that, about the lack of passing, only 11 pass attempts statistically. He says, well, we called 19 plays and we only had 19 pass plays, and we only had 41 snaps. The problem, he is saying, is we weren't getting first downs. And so when you're not getting first downs, your offense is not out there on the field enough. And so you need to get more first downs in order to have a passing game. Plus, he said, our running game was going really well, so we had to call run plays. My problem with them is I don't remember them doing a play action pass, Mike. No. If your running game is doing so great, fake the handoff a couple times and then go deep and connect. So they did not do that. So hopefully they will correct that. Your guy, your offspring, and the member of your family, Cole Kmet, he's had 2 passes thrown at him all season long. How can he become that top-notch tight end if he's not getting looks? Now he
was connecting with the last guy. He connected with the last guy and with Dalton and a few of these other guys. With Fields, Robinson, and Kmet are inept. Allen was inept. What's the problem here? Because Robinson's not doing too badly, I understand, out there in Ramland. You know what I mean? So, I know it's early, but I don't want to hear this rebuild crap. Aldo knows I fought the White Sox rebuild for 4 years. I knew it was going to blow up because it's who's building. It's who's building. You either get a top architectural firm to build your building, or maybe me and Aldo will help you out and we'll lay some bricks.
Yeah.
But that building will fall because we're not architects. And I don't think that these guys, are they proven architects of taking a team in the NFL and building them into something? Nobody knows. So I don't want to hear the hype about anybody because I've heard it all. The only guy they planned, the only guy the media panned in Chicago in the last 40 years the only guy that was head coach that they panned at the beginning was Mike Ditka. He'll never last more than a year. He's a special teams coach. Everybody else wants that's going to be great. Nagy's a genius. Trustman is taking the Bears to another level. Fox is bringing that winning attitude. A Super Bowl coach. The nonsense that Bear fans consume, and yet they get dumber with every new coaching hire. Like, this one's going to work. Yippee! You're all a bunch of saps. You're a bunch of saps. And that includes podcasters, radio guys, the radio people that wanted Trubisky out, the hosts, the print people. How do you like me now? You can criticize. There was no criticism of Trubisky Thursday by Bear fans. I thought, he might take a hit. Most of them were understanding because they see what they got now. They wanted this. People wanted this. I can't believe it. I see it in politics. People want things. And then when they get those things, I see it in entertainment. It don't work. And you go, it's not working because you're believing everything you read.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
You're on fire,
That's
Mike.
not it for me. I just got a head rush. No, I'm fine.
Matthew,
I'm serious about that. I'm tired of the same people write the same columns, talk the same crap. They wanted this guy out, that guy out. We had a good situation, and now we're back at ground zero, and I got to hear rebuild? I'm hearing rebuild on the south side. How are you rebuilding when Elvis Andrews and Johnny Cueto are two of your best players? And they're like approaching 40. It's all nonsense. It's all bull.
I love it. I love it.
My God, I got to hear. Johnny Cueto's the only guy. Sorry, I know it's a football show. He wasn't even in the White Sox organization, and he's the only guy that could go 8 innings. So what is it? Kopech can't go 8 innings. Mm-hmm. But Johnny Cueto at 59 years old can. Come on. I'm sorry.
Doreen says they should give you a podium over at Hallis Hall so that you can set them
They'll
all.
never do that. If I was GM of that team, we would have won 2 Super Bowls already in the last 30 years. I know, because I told them what to do. It's on record. Mm-hmm. I know. Go get Mike Allstott. Do not draft Walt Harris. Please take Mike Allstott. No. Me and Buffon, take Tony Romo. Take Tony Romo. He's out of Eastern Illinois. No. I mean, come on, man. Bring me in as a consultant, for God's sake.
Absolutely.
Don't sign Stan Thomas, but no. Don't sign Wanstead, but no. I'll go all night long, like Lionel Richie. Please, on Lord on high, don't sign Jay Cutler. No. Please, don't give him an extension in 118 million. No. I go all night long. I'm sick of it. There are a bunch of inept fools up there, man. On the south side and in Lake Forest. And I'm not done. I don't have time to get to the other teams.
That's right. We need a 6-hour show.
Because I'm on my 10th cup of coffee doesn't mean anything.
Oh, hilarious. Good stuff, Mike. Matthew Fochese says, well, wait a minute.
Irishman.
Matthew Fochese. He says, A-Rob is quiet in L.A. Well, he had only 1 pass target in week 1, and then he had 5 pass targets in week 2. It caught 4 of them for 53 yards and a touchdown. So it's about some chemistry there, just like Mike was
saying. What about Mooney?
Yep.
What has Mooney done? You're Allen Robinson's proven commodity. He proved me wrong. Mm-hmm. I didn't really want him. Mm-hmm. And then Mitch got him, and they became a great team. And the next thing I know, they're going, boy, Mooney and Fields look good. I'm going, what the hell's everybody talking about? Mm-hmm. You got a receiver and a quarterback that we got to be the only organization that says this is going too well. Mm-hmm. This is going too good. Let's get rid of these 2 guys. Oh, them in San Francisco. I called this. Aldo goes to me, how do you call this stuff? I go, it's the gut instinct. You know, the battle that look, FBI means forever bothering Italians. That's what I think, okay? FGAB means forget about the Italians at quarterback, apparently, because they draft a guy and go up. They draft 3 first-rounders. Mm-hmm. I mean, send 3 first-round picks for this guy, Trey Lance. Mm-hmm. And I said from the beginning, what's wrong with everybody? They've been to the Super Bowl and they've been to the final. Yeah, but he had a bad last game. Yeah. So you draft this kid. He's out already. He loses to the Bears. Okay. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to go to the Super Bowl. And Shanahan is a complete fool for losing that game. We got the break of a lifetime with the weather and with Jimmy G being out. Now, I'm not saying he might lose this week, but the fact he lost his job to an inexperienced rookie, a really second-year guy with no experience, is appalling. And thank God for his daddy. I don't even know if he'd be in the league. They hype this guy so much because of his father, and he does some good things, but that was a foolish mistake.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. I love your take on that. Are you feeling a little dizzy right now?
Well, I got to tell you something, too. Forget about it. I'll name other quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Trubisky didn't do this. Justin Fields is only... Winston threw 3 interceptions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Matt Ryan is a piece of crap. He threw 3 interceptions, but you know why you don't hear about them? Because they're NFL swamp. Matt Ryan is a swamp. He's the guy. Hey, man, how you doing? How you doing, buddy? How you doing? It's great to be on the NFL Network. Jameis Winston, so I stand on the table. Yay! So I yelled at people. Yay! 3 interceptions, you don't hear a word. You don't hear a word. And there was more. There's so much bad quarterbacking in the league, but all I hear is about 2 or 3 guys. How about this? People go, can Mike even top what he just did? Aldo's thinking that right now. I saw his hat turn around. Just when he thinks, like, can Mike do it again? The hat turns, you don't even know. Do you know since 2018, maybe we throw in 17, 2 quarterbacks have thrown 50 interceptions. One gets his ass reamed. That's Baker Mayfield. The other's Jameis Winston. And yet I'm hearing New Orleans is going to the Super Bowl by Keyshawn Johnson. They're over-unders 8.5. Drew Brees ain't walking through that door. I'm telling you.
And if he does, he's limping.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. He's doing betting commercials now. But all I'm telling you is there's half the quarterbacks in the league right now are suspect. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Mike, I hate to change the subject here, but I was with a friend the other day, and he told me, man, my other friend's mom was walking down the street. She trips on something that was on the cracked pavement and so forth. And you know what I told her? I told him, tell your friend to call David Spada, because David Spada is the best personal injury attorney out there.
I got the chills.
Listen to this.
If you're injured at work, don't try to be a hero and work in pain. Immediately tell your boss how you were injured and seek medical treatment. Then call my guy, Attorney David Spada, to make sure that your rights are protected. David will fight for the payment of your medical bills, lost wages, and settlement. Insurance companies and employers have individuals representing their interests. Why not you? You must have an experienced attorney on your side. All fees are contingent upon your recovery. Call David Spada at 847-729-COMP. That's 847-729-2667.
One Take Mike.
One Take Mike. Back in the 90s, that commercial was made. He's been with me for a long time. He enjoyed it. He enjoyed the show. He said it's some of the best money he's ever spent. He said that, he buys radio and stuff. He's been good for sports radio in Chicago, and he's a great lawyer. Go check him out. He's been around with me and with other people for 30 years. But he said it was some of the best money he ever spent. I go, really? He goes, yeah. I go, you got more? Then he says, I can't hear you. Shh. How did do that?
So
I used to do that. Shh. Wait a minute. Remember when they used to hear the shh? You used to actually, you didn't lose the caller. It would go shh. All those bits. Matthew. For cheesy.
Somebody in the chat room said that you look like you're wearing that jumpsuit now. You look like you could have been, part of the mafia or something. And then King Pookie says that you are Jimmy Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa's been missing for a long time.
Jimmy Hoffa. I love the movie Nicholson. With
oh
Nicholson.
My gosh!
By the way, Louise Fletcher. Back in the day in 1975, I tweeted this out. You can always back then judge a movie by judging how many times you went to see it at the theater, because you couldn't get it anywhere else. I saw Cuckoo's Nest 5 times. Okay.
Movie.
There's no doubt in my mind it's one of my top 5 movies of all time. It's not even close.
Oh, cool.
Jack Nicholson gave the performance that he was built for. even though Kirk Douglas wanted to do it because Michael was the producer.
Right.
He said, I wanted to do it when you were like 30 years younger. Okay. He had the right for a long time.
Good producer.
Great producer. That's what he did. He told his dad the truth.
Yep.
Because you can't do it now. If it's 1970, if it's 1968, you know, 60, you know, then maybe it's a different story. And he might have been good. Nicholson was unbelievable. But without a doubt, one of the most underrated villains of all time. A woman that every time I walked out of that movie theater, I told my wife, I cannot stand Nurse Ratched. I can't stand her. And Louise Fletcher, I was shocked by the lack of opportunities given to her after she won an Academy Award that I can put up as a villain. But a nurse, a villain that was out to be the power. I put her right up there with Hans from Die Hard, or Del Roby, Samuel Jackson, and Jackie Brown. I put her right up there. I mean, but what a tremendous actress. She had deaf parents, and she gave sign language when she gave the speech back in. And I just could not believe it. And then later on, she started doing some things, and you didn't even recognize her because she got older. But great performance. Sorry to see her go.
Yeah, I wasn't even aware that she passed. So that happened.
That's what I do. I sit at home going, "Who died?" You know. And my wife said, she goes, "Nobody yet." I go, "Thank you."
You get that 20-page newspaper, Sunday paper, and you go to the obits, right?
Well, it's easy now. You don't have to look for it.
That's right.
I mean, there's a couple guys in Chicago. I'm going to name one guy. I won't name him, but they'll say when he should go. We're all going to go on to the big, media guy in the sky. Okay. But there's one guy in Chicago. I'm not going to name him. He'll be considered a legend. He worked for a huge magazine that dropped to an all-time low. He worked in radio. He almost ruined it. And he's a newspaper columnist. And the paper, when he started, had about 150 pages. Now it has 20.
Oh, wow.
So, I'm not
Matthew Focchisi tells us that there's a TV show named Ratcheted, which is based on the character Nurse Ratched. Got to check that out on that.
I got to check it out, man.
Yeah,
because I love her, man.
Great.
There's American Gigolo out now. I saw that. It's basically a Richard Gere guy lookalike. It is. Yeah. He looks like Richard Gere. He's built like a lot like I was back in my 20s.
6-pack, 8-pack, 10-pack. Did you ever have a 6-pack, Mike?
Nah.
I thought you did.
I had birdcage chests and pipe stem arms. That's me.
I thought you had a 6-pack before and after every one.
After every game, I had more than a 6-pack. Believe me. That's why I'm still here. You got to abuse your body sometimes to make it feel good about the good times.
That's right. For people who don't know, Mike North is in the Softball Hall of Fame, 16-inch softball. That's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, I played 5 decades. I played on a bunch of championships. I was a neighborhood guy, but I also got in for being an organizer, having 2 national championship teams. I played in like 25 championship teams in the neighborhoods, but also for organizing the public school softball leagues. We're having 2-time national champ licorice team. We won it all. I got more franchise World Series than Reinsdorf or Roy Hoyer. So, but I don't get a call. I don't get how to build a team. I've seen every. You know how you build a team in Chicago? You just remember the bad days, and you say, "I don't want to go back there." But these guys are all new, and I saw a tape with Rick Hahn saying, well, they're going to say what they want to say on social media, and they're going to say this. Just wait and see. This was 2019. Shut up. You've done nothing. You're third in command. Shut up.
I love it. Mike, back to this Bears-Texans game. I have, by the way, people come here to listen to you bet and get your advice, and that's a good thing because last week I was 1-2.
I told you not to go that route. I told you come with me. We went 2-0. I mean, the Tampa Bay game to me was, and come on, Winston against Brady.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, come on. It's like me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
my second, it was like Winston's got another chance. And he had a pretty good start till he got hurt last year. So we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna pick on anybody. All I was trying to point out earlier is a lot of bad quarterbacking out there, and all you're hearing is about a few guys. And there's some good quarterbacks that were sitting on the bench like Jimmy G. So you know, period.
Well, I've looked over a bunch of prop bets, and I got one that I really like a lot. Over at Detroit, Amon St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is the brother of the Bears wide receiver Equanimous St. Brown. Detroit has his brother, and this guy has scored.
The first thing what's the first guy's name?
The first guy's name is Amon-Ra.
What's the second?
Equanimous.
Kids after the solar system. There's the Equanimous star. Those are some wild names. Not as good as my favorite receiver of all time.
Which is?
As far as names go, former New Orleans Saint. He had the name I wanted to have as a kid. Jubilee Dunbar, ladies and gentlemen. I got him in football cards. Jubilee. I go, somebody had a good time that night.
That's right. Well, Amon-Ra St. Brown has 3 touchdowns already this season, and he is a plus 125 to score a touchdown today against the Vikings. And the Vikings are giving up yards and touchdown passes. To me, that's a great prop bet, plus 125 to score a touchdown for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Plus another prop bet that I like is Dalvin Cook, the running back from the Vikings. In 2 of his 3 last games, he has scored 2 touchdowns versus the Lions. So you can get him at plus 350. Throw a nickel, throw a dime, throw whatever, throw a couple of jelly beans at plus 350 for him to score 2 touchdowns. You could get a big payday on him. And the Lions have been allowing a lot of touchdowns too. So those 2 prop bets are intriguing to me. And then Gaines asked, are the Bears going to win? Of course they're going to win today. There's no doubt about it. Right, Mike?
I don't even know.
I
don't even know anymore. I don't. I graded it out. It grades out even. I don't even know. I mean, can we really? If you were in a survivor pool, and to win like $10,000, you had to pick the winner of this game, and forget about your fan bases. I don't think either fan base would feel confident picking their team, but I don't think they'd feel confident picking the other team. It's one of these games where it's the NFL. My 2 best bets so far this year, 2-0. You know who they were? In the whole league. Week 1, okay? Seattle, when they should have lost to Denver.
That's right.
And week 2, the Jets. And I won. So you don't know what's going to happen here. You would rather have another game if you were in a survivor pool. But if your life depended on it, and it's a point spread game, worst case scenario, if you lose, you're hoping it's a push. That the Bears win like 27-24 and they land on the number if it's 3.
Right.
Because I wouldn't know which way to go. I would shade Bears because how can they be the favorites with Lovie Smith coming back for the revenge game, with him knowing defense? They got to be easy to prepare for. They're going to put 8 in the box because they know they're going to hand off to Montgomery. But are they going to give up a lot of yards? Their front 4 does not scare me. It's not like, Justin Fields is going to be running away from Aaron Donald,
Right.
That's why this is an up-in-the-air game. I'd lean Bears. Bears.
I got to believe, this Bears team worries me on so many different fronts.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness. Right.
Let's be honest, it does.
Yeah, but I still believe that they are a very well-coached team, and this team appears to be responding in a positive way. This Texans team is a tough team. Now, they have blown fourth quarter leads in their last 2 losses. They're 0-2 Texans. So it's not like they're a terrible team. They just haven't been – they're a team that doesn't know how to win, right?
Are the Bears a catch-up team? Are the Bears a catch-up team if they get behind? That's the thing you got to worry about. But I think look, I'm going to depend on Justin Fields' reaction. I saw Kyler Murray last week. I had Arizona. They came back from hell They were getting their butts kicked. And I saw him do something I haven't done since Fran Tarkenton. Fran Tarkenton was the greatest scrambler who ever played the game of football, and he's one of the greatest quarterbacks who's ever played the game of football.
Agreed. Yep.
We hear about Jim Kelly. Fran Tarkenton did the same thing in Minnesota. Super Bowl, but he didn't win.
Right.
I saw Fran Tarkenton, and you could look him up on Wikipedia, look up his videos. For 15 seconds, run away from defenders. You can count 1, 2, and he's still back there. And then finally he hits a 10-yard pass, and they're all exhausted. Doug Atkins is ready to drop. I mean, Kyler Murray did the same thing last week in the second half. They were trying to catch this guy. He had the ball for at least 10 to 12 seconds. I hadn't seen that since Tarkenton, where he was just screwing with their heads. Now, I know he's playing Aaron Donald in them. Okay? But they get tired too.
Yep.
They get tired too. So I'm going to give somebody a game right now because I know you're waiting. Okay? I wasn't going to do it.
Everybody in the chat room is waiting. Dozens and hundreds of people all across America.
Look at all of them. How you doing? Arizona covers today against the Rams. Hopefully getting 4 at home. Arizona covers.
I love that. I love that bet. That's a great bet.
Yeah,
by the way,
I feel as good about that as I did about getting out of 7th grade my first year. I'm getting out. The next thing you know, I go, I'm not getting out. No, I love Arizona.
You know what? And Q from Cincy, a long time devoted follower of your work ever since your Fox national broadcasting days. His team, the Cincinnati Bengals, are 0-2, and he is praying that you're going to give the blessing for the Bengals to beat the Jets and get on the win side.
I think the Jets can cover. I'm not sure they can win. Look, Joe Burrow said relax. And whenever you hear a quarterback, I don't care if it's Aaron Rodgers or Joe Burrow, you say relax until you see that Joe Burrow had an appendectomy during the offseason, a little arrogant, social media, strutting around like a peacock, going to concerts, which he's allowed to do.
Of course.
But the over-under for team wins was 9.5. That's not astronomical for a team that was in the Super Bowl. And now we're seeing why. Mitch beat you. Mitch Trubisky beat you and outplayed you your first week. Okay. Then you lose the second week. Who'd they lose to? You got the game there? Who'd they lose to?
Last week, goodness.
Look for it.
Help us out there, Q. But
because they lost to somebody last week. Wait a minute.
Spelling Cincinnati is one of the most difficult things.
Just put Cincinnati football in there because I got to make a point, and I don't know who they lost to last week because I don't think they lost to anybody worth a damn. I think they lost to somebody that wasn't any good. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then they got Flacco coming up. Okay, so Flacco. I mean, I don't know what you do if Flacco beats the Jets. What do you do with the new kid who's ready to come back soon? Zach Wilson. You know.
Yeah. They've lost to the Steelers and Cowboys in their first 2 games.
They lost to Trubisky, the new kid Rush. There we go. And now they got Flacco. You lose all 3 of those games, you're done. You're done. Flacco, Trubisky, and some guy named Rush, who, by the way, played better than Dak Prescott's been playing before he went down.
And John points
out what's going to happen.
John points out that the Cowboys beat the Bengals without Dak Prescott. So
Aldo was looking for you 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, I've been looking for Joe Mandel to come in here, and as we have been doing every week since the Early Bear special, we've been bringing on a member of the Barroom Network to talk a little bit with you. And Joe is our resident fantasy football expert. I know you don't play fantasy, Mike, but it's always interesting to get his take on things. Joe Mandel, welcome to the team.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Mike? Thanks for having me today, guys.
Great to see you, Joe. You do a great job with your shows. You're the fantasy expert. We don't talk a lot of fantasy on this show, and I don't play it anymore. But me and a man named Jeff Schwartz came up with an idea back in 95, 96. I went up to Ron Gleason, our program director. I go, I want to do a half hour on fantasy football. True story. He says, that's too long. Fantasy's never going to be all that. I go, I think it is. I think it is. Just let us do it. And the rest is history because fantasy became huge. But I want to ask you, first of all, it seems to me with legalized betting and with the prop bets now, and from what I'm hearing through my ear, that fantasy football is still big, but now more people are turning to the prop bets because you can make more money without having a whole team by picking a running back with over 50 yards. Will this defensive back minus 140 not have an interception? Is that what we're seeing right now? That fantasy's still popular, but Matthew Berry's gone from ESPN. A lot of other fantasy shows have been replaced by gambling shows.
Yeah, it's a huge thing, Mike, and I think that's what they're trying to do is kind of get the fantasy player to make all these bets. And I'm not going to lie, Mike, it's worked on me. I've been doing prop bets every week. You know, I got a handful of them here that I can read off to you that I have today.
Well, you know what's funny? You know what's funny? If you, and we will let you read those, but if you told me, Mike, you got to spend 3 hours at a draft, then you get a team, a defense, you got to name a team, then you get a running back and all that other stuff, the quarterback and everything. And you got to keep track of it and you got to be ready for trades, or you make 3 prop bets a week.
Yeah.
To me, it's a no-brainer. I'm not getting into fantasy if I'm going to put my money on prop bets. You're doing both, okay? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And how are you doing with those?
The prop bets, I've been doing horrible. So I think it's like, you know, it's
that's what we do here. We tell the truth.
Yep.
And with fantasy,
we're doing horrible with the prop bets. I think what it is like you get in your own head like, oh man, this guy is going to have a huge day today, and you're like, because like the odds between you can go from like minus, you know, I don't know, minus 135, and then the extra 10 yards it goes up to the plus 120, and you're like, oh, let's go for that, and it always falls just below that. You know that, Mike. Vegas is always in the know on everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So give me some guys today though, because there are still plenty of people to play fantasy football or do prop bets. And I think if you name a fantasy team, if you name a running back that you think is going to be a stud, then a guy who's got a prop bet for yards on that running back most likely will take him, even if he's not in fantasy. So give us a few people you have going today.
Sure, I'll give you a couple must starts, and then I'll give you a couple props afterwards. But for quarterbacks, a guy who really did horrible last week, I think Kirk Cousins bounced back a huge way against Detroit today. I think there's probably going to be like 60-plus points combined in that game. I think it's going to be a shootout. From a running back perspective, one of our Bears, I think a big start is going to be David Montgomery against Houston. I think he's going to run all over them, but I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, so I think he might get 1 touchdown if we're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And from a wide receiver standpoint, a guy that a lot of people slept on, and with Geno Smith at quarterback, but I think DK Metcalf goes hog wild against the Atlanta Falcons today. So those are my 3 must-starts.
You know what? And that I like the Metcalf pick. He's been quiet. He's a stud. Atlanta's been getting a lot of love. Okay, deservedly so. Just like Detroit, scoring a lot of points. I like your Cousins pick. Look, Minnesota loses today. If Detroit beats them, you know, I mean, I look at Kirk Cousins, and he's the perfect example of what I talk about. Just win the games. He puts up some of the greatest stats in football. Yet you look for him. At the end of the day, he's not around. So he's one of those guys. I happen to think Minnesota is going to win this game, but, you know, it's the NFL. How close were you? Because you said both teams are going to put up a lot of points. Detroit's got a quarterback doing pretty good himself in golf. How close were you to, you know, if you're going to take Cousins and your arguments, they're both scoring a lot of points. It's almost weird, but if you're allowed 2 quarterbacks, or 2 prop bets, isn't this one of those games you might take both quarterbacks for yardage or for completions?
It absolutely is, Mike, and it's actually funny you mentioned that. I do have Jared Goff over 250 yards passing today, and as a sleeper start in fantasy, he's owned in a very small amount of leagues. So I think Jared Goff is probably going to throw for close to 300 today and probably 3 touchdowns. So I hope I'm right there, but I think you've seen a lot of good out of Jared Goff, and I think it's got a lot to do with them having one of the best offensive lines in football.
You know what I want to see today out of you, Joe? maybe do a video like with the we lost Aldo there a little bit with the pause. Oh no, Aldo just said this is face to face. Sorry, Aldo, I wasn't.
That's all right.
I know you're eating a sandwich.
It was.
I knew that. It's one of those games where you said it's going to be hot scoring. You took both quarterbacks. Maybe you do a video with the sound in the background. With 2 minutes left, it's 6-3 with you standing on the rail of your balcony. If it's 6-3, how many times does that happen where you're looking for two quarterbacks to fill the air up with football, and then it's 6-3, and you're looking for the bullets, for the revolver? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it happens a lot. It's happened a lot to this point of the season, especially, if anyone bet the over in the last two Bears games, they probably jumped off the balcony a few times.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. And today they'll take the under in the fight. Wouldn't that be the shocker of the day?
It's so tempting at 39.5, but it's hard. They don't score points.
It's like a guy jumping off the fifth floor going, you think the awning will break my fall? You know what I mean? You're not sure. So,
by the way, Montgomery is plus 130 to score a touchdown today. David Montgomery of the Chicago Bears.
That seems like it's easy to take that.
Yeah, that's to me a no-brainer. He's going to score his first touchdown today against the Texans. Joe brought it up first, and I'm on board.
And I'm on board. I'll pull out the rosary because, man, I would think it would be. I would think it would be minus 120 or something because he's a stud. And if you get close to the goal line, the problem is if you got Fields and him by the goal line, they like to do that fake handoff and run around the end. Yep. I mean,
and you see Khalil Herbert
Fields want to score.
And Khalil Herbert getting some goal line work too. So it's, I think Vegas always seems to know more than we do somehow, some way.
I hope you're gonna win. I know you vowed you wouldn't shave until you did get one, and if today's looking bright for you. Get the Gillette, get the razor ready.
That's right. Get that razor.
I'm feeling good now. Tell everybody when you're on, Joe.
Yeah, so Fantasy Football Goon comes on at 10:40 Central Time, right after the Barfly Tailgate Show. Takes you all the way up to kickoff. We'll give you all the fantasy info you need, all the inactives, actives, starts, sits, sleeper picks, everything you know it. Me and my co-host Adam Schaum are on every Sunday morning. And then I'm on Mondays as well with Southburb Sitman talking about disappointing White Sox season. We have on Monday, we have Herb Lawrence on the show on Monday evening.
Good old Herb. I might say hi.
Yeah. And then to close out the season a week later, we have for the season finale, Ozzie Guillen Jr. with us to talk about the disappointing season. I'm sure he will be very, very opinionated on that.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. No, never mind. I don't want to start.
Don't start, Mike. Don't start.
I love Ozzie Jr. He did some shows with me. He's a good guy, good family guy. Good. I'm a big fan of his. You have a good one, Joe. Thank you.
You as well, Mike. Thanks for having me on today, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe. You're the absolute best. Joe Mandel, he does the research so that way you don't have to. Him and his co-host Adam Schaum at 10:40 Central today here on the Barroom Network. It's called the Fantasy Football Goon Show. They really, really offer up tons of information. It's ultimately your choice. You can take Mike's advice. You can take Joe's advice. You can take mine, but it's always your choice. So don't come back and say, well, wait a minute. You didn't get, no, you made the decision, right?
And by the way, I tell the truth. You'll only see certain guys say, you only see them when they win. I tell the truth. It's no big deal. I mean, people follow our records closer than they follow their own finances. Maybe take a little time out to talk to a financial investor and quit worried about if Mike North took the Atlanta Falcons or not.
That is so true. That is so true.
I just found out the other day I have another room in the house. I couldn't believe it. And Mandel did the classic. I don't even know Joe all that well, but does he have children?
No. Well, yeah, he's got a newborn. I think it's a year old now, the baby, right? Yeah.
I knew that. You know why I knew that? Mm-hmm. He was whispering a little bit and the door was shut.
That's right.
I got my door wide open. Nobody cares. I got nobody. The dog looks at me like I'm out of my mind, and that's the end of it. You know,
that is amazing. Hey, Mike, I wanted to talk about the over/under on the Lions-Vikings games. It's 52.5. Does that seem a little low to you, given that these two teams have been putting up mega points, or is this one of those weeks where these two NFC North
21-10? 21-17.
Exactly. I was wondering.
I'm telling you right now, I've been down this road a million times. It's going to be 45-40. I was serious with Joe. You seen the movie? I forget which movie it was, where the girl's on the banister.
Right. Yes,
I
remember.
Sweet Smell of Success.
There you go.
With Burt Lancaster, his daughter's on the, on the railing of the balcony. Take the over today, and it's 13-10 with 2 minutes left in the fourth, and you're praying. Well, you can't pray. It's over, there's nothing God could do for you back then. God can do anything for you, my son. I had a priest tell me not if I'm down 13-10 with 2 minutes left, and I got the over 52. How's that, Father? What's God going to do then? Come down and go to the bookmaker? I want it.
I love it. And then the other one that the over-under is high at 50.5 is the Chiefs at the Colts. The Colts have been having some problems. The Chiefs, of course, are a scoring machine. 50.5, that's one that almost strikes me that could be lower than what Vegas has set it at 50.5. Your thoughts?
I'm telling you, the Chiefs are good. They're all good. Indianapolis isn't.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I will tell you this. I watched that Cleveland team last week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who's their quarterback. If you have Nick Chubb, for instance, nobody could stop that guy. I mean, and if he plays against most teams, he's going to be successful. I think at the end of the day, Kansas City looks great right now, but because they're going to miss, they still got their tight end, but they miss Hill.
Mm-hmm.
But he was big last week or last game. He's very pertinent. I think they should have tried to re-sign him. Now it doesn't look bad, but maybe down the line it will. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole. They could win by 4. I stay away from this one. Just like Buffalo, how long can they keep doing this? It looks like they're going to go 16-0, but they're going to have maybe a clunker somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
It's the NFL.
One of the valuable lessons I've learned from you about gambling is that there's just certain games you should just make that decision and stick by it. Do not approach it.
Listen, when people say to me, what's it like to have one of the top 5 quotes of all time? I go, what are you talking about? Top 5 quotes of all time. Well, I go, list the top 5 quotes. Okay, the guy goes Abraham Lincoln, 407 years ago. Okay. Vincent Spalazzo from The Godfather. He's still alive. We put 5 shots in him, and he's still alive.
I love
Vincent Spalazzo, who also said, "You think too much of me, kid. I'm the hunted." Okay.
2 great lines.
That guy was the best. I love that guy, and nobody else likes him. I think he did a good job. The 4th one, A-okay, And then the 5th one, believe me when I tell you this, folks, when you're talking about betting on football, sometimes the best bet, this is my quote, is not to make a bet.
Yeah.
Don't make a bet. If you say, well, I really want to play this game, there's 15, 16 games. If you have DirecTV, I got to play this game because it's the Bears. Don't go with your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Go in with my heart. I'll never forget it.
Mm-hmm.
14 years old, down to the man at 14, $25.
Mm-hmm.
Back in like 1969. You know how much $25 was to a kid? I was on a payment plan of $1 a month for 6 months. I made a birthday party. The guy goes, "You want to try gambling?" My buddy's uncle. The next thing I know, I'm down. But that was, God bless him. That's how I got into it.
Cue from
payment plan. I mean, I got a paper route.
That's a great question, Mike.
Where's your money? Where's your money? Well, I get paid. I got a Tribune route. I'm getting paid Monday. See you later. Believe me, you could afford breakfast at the Golden Nugget without my money. Okay? Go hit JoJo over there. That owes you $2,000.
How old were you when you laid your first bet? Do you recall?
14.
Wow.
What happened was I went to a buddy's house. I won't name him. And a couple of his uncles lived in the building, and they were big time. I mean, they're in books and stuff. And one guy looked like Dean Martin. I said, hey, Mikey, he'd bring all our friends, 14. He recruited half of us. Yeah. Yeah, he passed away, but God bless him. He recruited half of us, and the next thing you know, he's coming around and goes, anybody see so-and-so? No.
That's almost a luggage.
He was big time, but he was sort of like, at times, like Carlo. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Late 8 to 5. You remember when he's on the stairs before he got his ass kicked?
Yes. All right, Mike. We got to pull the plug on this one. You got anything you want to share?
No, I had nothing. No, of course I do.
Please, everybody's waiting. They're like, I gotta call Leo. I gotta call whatever.
Leo. It comes up with Leo.
I know. That's
out of all the guys you could have named, Leo. All right.
Bugsy? Okay, Bugsy.
Yeah, Bugsy. That's another one. All right. First, I like Arizona today. Plus the 3.5.
Kyler Murray and company. Arizona.
And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the over Bears, 39.5.
Ooh, over.
Something's going to happen. Everybody I've talked to, everybody I've heard, even my mother, I talked to her yesterday. I go, how's things, Mom? Oh, my leg is bothering me. And the party was good, your birthday party, and it was fine and everything. What's the total on the Bear game? Because I like the over. You know what? She listens to the odds couple now.
Oh, awesome.
My I'm busy with my
I'm sorry. Where's that coming from?
But I always have time for.
Sorry. It's an Italian restaurant commercial just popped up.
Oh! Every Italian commercial. See, everybody thinks my commercials. I had like Dakotas. I had an actual airplane crash into the parking lot, and the survivors got out of the plane and they go, "How you all right? Yeah. Hey, look, there's a restaurant. Let's go eat at Dakotas." I mean, and they said it's okay.
I love it.
Yeah, right by over here. I like over Bears.
And
I like the Arizona Cardinals. Last night, I just want to say this. I always talk, and Aldo will talk about a bad beat, okay? For instance, last week, all sorts of people got killed. They were winning big games and then teams came back and beat them, like Arizona. But you know what? If you get a bad beat, remember the good wins. Yeah. Last night, if you didn't see it, in the circuit contest, I'm 1-1 so far. I had Stanford plus 13.5. They got beat by 20-something.
Oh.
But I had I had A&M minus 1.5. They won by 2 because the kicker kicked the ball and it landed on top of the goalpost.
Are you serious?
You can see it on Twitter. People, it's all over Twitter. Hit up in the air. And bounce forward towards the field.
Wow.
If it goes that way, it's probably good. If it misses the pole, it might have been called good, but I end up winning. So, we got to come up with a name for good wins. Maybe just call it good wins.
Right.
The bad beats, they even out, folks. I got a good win yesterday, just to let everybody know.
Well, congratulations on that win. And thank you to David Spada. Remember to call him at 847-729-COMP. That's 2667. David Spada, personal injury attorney and longtime friend of Mike Norris.
Yeah, you get hurt on the job. You can't just go limping in like we used to. I mean, I told the story about this guy Herbert, and then we got to let you go. We'll get out of here. The quarterback for the Chargers. He cracked his ribs and he's got cartilage, and people are thinking that's going to be an easy game today. He's not fully healthy. I cracked my ribs playing sports and cartilage. You move. You can't sleep at night. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to have painkillers. You know, we used to have coffee and gut it out. That's what we used to have. So have coffee this morning, gut it out. Aldo, great job. And if you get hurt, David Spade is your guy.
He's our guy. Absolutely. All right. Stay tuned for the Barfly Tailgate Show, Fantasy Football Goon. And then after the Bears game, it's Bear Football with Tom Buffon, Danny Sherman, and Tyler Ellis. Goodbye, everybody.